Dani Moonstar is my next entry into my Underrated Champions I Love series, and I've always really liked this character ever since I pulled her. She was one of my early rank 5s, like I think maybe my 5th or 6th, and she's been a really fun champ to use. As y'all know, I love the mutant class, even if it's not necessarily a great class. It's been my favorite for a long time, aside from maybe Mystic, but she's got a really cool kit. She's got some really interesting mechanics that involve characters who cheat death, such as things like immortality, indestructible, stuff like that, to where she has this marked ability that when you have her awakened, she's going to place this once they hit 10%, and then they basically won't be able to regenerate, go immortal, indestructible, or death immune anymore. It's a really cool ability, especially against champs like Herc or any other champs with indestructible once they hit low percent, like maybe Hela or something. And of course, this has to do with some nodes in the game that come around. And yeah, it's a really cool ability. I really like it. It doesn't work when they have increased ability accuracy, like in this steady build-up meta, meaning I couldn't really showcase exactly what it's like in Battlegrounds because of steady build-up increasing their ability accuracy, so it doesn't matter anyway. But it's really good in other areas of the game. She also has a really neat ability to be able to shut down Nick Fury by placing Narrow Shocks, and Narrow Shocks prevent skilled champs from healing. The problem is Nick Fury is bugged right now, so he is going to heal anyway. It's a bug on his end, not a bug on Dani's end. You can't basically replace your purified Narrow Shock, or in Toad's case, a purified poison, like you should, because Nick purifies those anyway. It's a bug on his end, so I would love to showcase her cheating Nick Fury's death immunity. I've placed videos out on it before Nick became bugged, so if you are interested in seeing that, you can check them out. But yeah, she's really good against countering Nick Fury, especially when that actually gets fixed. And I love her kit. Just playing around with Falter. Miss is always a fun mechanic on offense, so it's really nice to do that. She just has a crap ton of damage with prowess on the SP2 and everything. Big SP2s are like my favorite thing to throw out in the game, so she's really fun to use when it comes to that department. And yeah, so those are some of the things I really like about Dani. She does sometimes have a bit of a clunky kit, but if you practice it a good bit, you can get the hang of exactly how you want to manage her playstyle, and it's usually going to be a pretty fun time. So let's get into some gameplay, starting with Winter Soldier here, as we would usually put at the start of a fun showcase, and this series is definitely mostly fun showcases. So we're going to start here, and I'm going to show you basically how I play Dani against Winter Soldier specifically. I'm going to do maybe a bit different rotations for her in other fights, but usually it's just we're going to do an SP1 into an SP2. And that is for basically any health pool over like 250k with class advantage. And that's basically the exact rotation you're going to do. SP1 into SP2. While you're ramping, you want to make him miss while also hit while the miss is active. Which, when you make them miss, you get a neural arrow. And when you hit while the miss is active, you get a prowess. And you really want to have 5 neural arrows before you throw an SP2 if you can help it. The SP1, it really doesn't matter if you have all 5, but for an SP2, you ideally want to have 5 because that places an overload, which if you don't know what an overload is, it's a trauma debuff, but for energy damage. So that's pretty cool. And we're going to finish him off with this SP1 here and the Narrow Shocks afterwards. Those Narrow Shocks actually are kind of nice. They don't tick that weak when there's a lot of them active, so in some scenarios, just spamming SP1 is a rotation that I actually try to do. Like, I remember there being a Power Shield meta with Polka Dot Power, and spamming SP1s was a rotation I decided to do. There are definitely other examples where you might want to do that, but that's the first one that comes to mind. So, Captain Marvel here, this time without class advantage, we're doing SP1 into SP2 just like usual. The SP1 places an energy vulnerability, which just makes your overpowered hit a lot harder, so that's why you want to use it sometimes. So we're going to get to 40 hits, trigger that Falter, and then we go for the SP2, place the overload, and we're just doing a bunch of damage. Noted, I do have the Gambit Relic as a 5-star, and that definitely helps the damage on the special attacks. If you have a 6-star Gambit Relic, you are absolutely popping off with that Relic on Dani. It's so helpful for her. A 5-star definitely helps out a good bit, but a 6-star is just absolutely immense in how much it does for her. I wish I had it. One day, hopefully, I'll pull that one. But I only have like 7 6-star relics at the moment, so I'm not even halfway to getting all of them. Either way, we're going to finish her off with this SP2 here, and we're going to kill her in, let's see how fast it was. I'd imagine like 1:20 seconds, and it's 1:20 seconds. Wow, okay, perfect guess. Okay, so this is Venom the Duck. This is the 6.4.1 Venom the Duck. And basically what this fight is just a Battlegrounds health pool of a 6-star rank 4 champion. And my Dani is rank 5, so I'm going to factor in that I am a rank ahead. But I will point out that there is a lot of overkill on the SP2 at the end, so it might not even matter a lot of times when you're punching at equal ranks. And even if you're punching a rank behind, then you might want to like SP1 right after you do your SP1 into SP2. And if you have a decent bit of neural arrows, then you should be fine. Obviously, that's not always going to kill, as there are resistances and just crit resistance and stuff like that that can affect a fight, but for a basic showcase, that's about the damage you're looking at. We didn't even get to see the second to last hit or the last hit because of how much damage we did there. When you can get those crits, it's completely ridiculous, and yeah, so that would have been an overkill. If it was a rank 5, it would have been basically just enough, so like 40 seconds for a rank 5 versus a rank 5, that's pretty awesome. So this is the Gladiator Circuit meta, and what makes Dani so really fun for the Gladiator Circuit meta is, 1, if you have that falter up, you can block unblockables because, well, they don't actually hit you, so it doesn't even matter that you are going for the block. And also, when Dani gets a Disorient on herself, and I believe a Fragility or an Intimidate, she gains one of her illusions, which is what lets you place that falter. So, in this meta, one thing you could do was simply just Dex, which places a Disorient on you, and then you get a illusion right after, allowing you to do intercepts like that, and kill defenders in 40 seconds like that. And it was a really fun time. The circuit meta is almost gone now, but the few fights I had with Dani were really fun because of that playstyle. I have 2 of them. That first one was the Shield, and the second one is going to be the Elsa for Battlegrounds fights of this meta. And if I wasn't bad, I wouldn't have just taken that combo. I don't know what happened, but it doesn't really matter. See, we're getting Disorients on ourselves, we're getting that illusion on ourselves. We're going to trigger it just like that. Also, don't worry about Disorient failing your falter most of the time because it has a 150% chance to trigger. So even if you have a 50% Disorient on you, it doesn't really matter because you are still going to trigger that falter anyway. If it goes past 50%, you will have a little bit of ability accuracy reduction, but usually it's not that big a deal. Okay, so this is a rank 5 Ascended Kingpin, the largest acquirable Kingpin in the game, and like I said earlier about that SP1 rotation, well, this is that fight I was referring to. This is against Kingpin, obviously, and the way I did this fight was I want to get him to Purify, because if he purifies a stun, I place a Neuroshock, and this meta, Neuroshocks, as they are a damage over time effect, they would give me power. So we are going to go for an SP1 to place more Neuroshocks. Maybe it was worth going for an SP2, I'm not even sure, but I was spamming Neuroshocks in this fight. It felt like a good rotation, so that's just what I continued with. And just look at the damage. I mean, it's a power shield, so yeah, that's gonna happen. Damage is gonna happen, but it still was really fun. Also, the slow completely just shutting down his SP2. It's a 24-second slow, so it's actually very impactful. It's a very underrated ability that Dani has. Because if you just wanted to spam SP1s, you have a passive slow for like forever, and spamming SP1s, the damage isn't necessarily that terrible, so it's not even that bad of a rotation. So, anyway, that is going to conclude my Underrated Champions I Love video on Dani. I hope you enjoyed. Dani is a really fun champion. She is one of the lower rated champions of last year, but that doesn't mean she's not good at all. I still have a lot of fun with her, and I hope this video proved that. So, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one.